This is the 20th season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, Aftco, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning, and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. And today's guest needs no introduction, so we're just going to bring him in hot right off the hopper. Matt Stefan, thanks for jumping on BTL.
Thanks for having me back, Matt. It's been a while.
It has not been a while. Has it been a while?
I really don't know. I just said that.
That's fair. Did you up your mic game?
No.
Did you up your internet game?
I did that a while ago. Why? Is it pretty decent right now?
Yeah, it looks phenomenal now. Usually you've got like a little bit of a... My girlfriend listens to a podcast called Blurry Creatures. You ever listen to that?
No.
It's about blurry creatures from around the world. You kind of look like a blurry creature sometimes in the past, and you are like crisp. You can like see all the different brands of power bait and max scent in the background behind you. And you can actually tell the different, you can see some of the secret baits above your left shoulder there. Yeah, no, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, no, I finally gave in and got Starlink. Elon Musk told me to get Starlink.
Have you seen that thing yet in the sky?
Yeah, it's freaky.
Dude. Oh, it's absolutely wild. The first time I saw it, believe it or not, was last year up in New York, where there was like no light pollution, and we were like, what is that? And then someone was like, that's Elon's Santa sleigh.
Yeah, that was same thing happened a couple weeks. Well, not a couple weeks ago, probably 6 months ago. Sarah called me on her way home from work, and she's like, look up in the sky. Look up in the sky. There's this weird thing up there. And I went and looked on our deck, and you see like, 10 of them right in a row, just moving perfectly. And it was like, what is that? And then I had to do some Google searching, and I was like, oh, that's Starlink. But no, we live outside of town. We've got really crummy service. And I have a couple of buddies that had Starlink, and they're like, you really should try it. So I got it, and it's been really, really good for us.
Phenomenal. So like, do you like just write a check to Elon Musk every month then?
Yeah, it's
pretty much
$120 a month.
Oh, that's solid.
Yeah, no service fee or anything. It's $3 more than what I was paying for my crummy service before. And it would take me, some cases it would take me 24 hours to upload like a 20-minute video onto YouTube. And in this case with Starlink, it's like 3 to 10 minutes.
Huh.
It's really good.
Brian's saying that he runs a Starlink on his express boat on the river.
Yeah. Yeah, you can take, that's the cool thing. You can basically take it anywhere with you. It's just like a little dish, and you take that connects to a router and a modem, or a router, I guess. And then that's it. It's really easy to set up. It's pretty cool.
The Starlink Mini. Wow. Technology. It's a thing. It's an amazing thing. All right. I feel like today we need to actually have a schedule on what we're going to talk about, because we could go a million different ways. I want to talk about Rick Clunn in this. I want to talk about the Lake Mead Open. I obviously want to talk about your BPT season, inundated with questions yesterday, as I'm sure you were, which is a good thing that people care, Matt, about how things ended up shaking out. And then we have to nail down a date for our impossible Master Angler quest this fall, because I think we both know what our schedules are at this point, correct?
Yeah, I'm concerned.
That doesn't sound.
No, I just talked with Sarah. I got dates written down.
I've got dates down. So you want to do it in that order?
Make it work. Yeah.
All right.
What do you want to start with?
Let's start with the really cool thing. So something that's near and dear to both of our hearts is One Bass and the US Open, and what Billy's doing out west. Bridgeford Foods, big supporter of One Bass in those events, correct?
Yeah, 100%. They do Bridgeford in the boat. So if you have Bridgeford products, in the boat with a receipt showing that you bought it. If your boat number is called, you get free entry, and they do it every day.
All right. Coming up is the Lake Mead Open. Now, this is not the One Bass US Open that is in October. This is one of the series of it. However, it is run the exact same on the 18th, 19th, and 20th. I just saw a post from Billy Egan, who runs that on One Bass. They've got over 100 pros. They do pro and AAA, but they're short on AAA anglers right now. If you have ever wanted to go out west, jump in a boat, and you're a co-angler who's like, screw this, I ain't getting in front of scopers. That's a waste of my a AAA event, meaning shared weight format. So there's an incentive for you to catch them. It's the thing that I fished in 2018. You've talked about it. You can get a cheap flight to Vegas, have your rod shipped in advance, find a guy to jump in at the ramp. It's like $400 for the AAA entry fee. The balance is due on the 16th in 2 days. If you're spontaneous, if you've ever wanted to go out west, if you want to jump in a tournament with a badass payout that's supported, where you're working with your pro angler each of the 3 days, guaranteed 3 days, check out onebassevents.com or onebass, WONBASS.com.
Yeah.
I would do it if I wasn't going to Minnesota. I would do it as a AAA if I wasn't going to Minnesota.
Dude, that's one of the coolest lakes in the country. And to be able to show up and then fish as a team with your boater, it is one of the most relaxed. It's one of the best formats you can fish for both the boater and the co-angler, because you're like high-fiving your partner.
Yeah, you catch a 3-pounder out of the back of the boat, and your boater will literally bear hug you, and you'll be dancing in the boat high-fiving because it's shared weight. Your boater catches a 4-pounder, counts for your weight.
Yeah, I love fishing those events. You know, I haven't fished, I guess, the individual events. I've fished multiple of the U.S. Open events on Lake Mead, and one of the coolest lakes in the country, one of the coolest formats to fish. It just creates an atmosphere of friendship and like excitement versus, you know, you're almost fishing against somebody in the boat. It's a very cool format.
Do you think, I wonder, there's got to be someone that's listening that's like, oh, my plans just opened up this weekend. I've got miles.
I mean, how can you argue with potentially spontaneously jumping on a plane, taking a short trip to Vegas, you know, fishing a little bit, then you get to go play some blackjack or hang out, you know, on the strip. Like it's a perfect setup.
What do you think if you're a AAA and it's coming up here in September, whatever, the 16th through the 18th? Like, what, you could literally take everything you need probably in a little carry-on tackle box, right? As a AAA, what would you need? Drop shot stuff, Ned stuff, couple top waters, some small swim baits and jig heads.
Yeah. I mean, if I was going to Lake Mead right now, I'd have some walking topwater baits. I'd have a couple of spinner baits. I would have a handful of like little tungsten jigs, finesse jigs, maybe some drop shot stuff, some hover rigs.
Mm-hmm.
Like you really can make that trip very
and your boater 9.9 times out of 10 will say, here, tie this on. This is what we're doing today. Here's my rod. Here's my reel. But then I'm assuming you can put like 3 or 4 reels in your carry-on.
Yeah.
And then what do you just ship the rods to Vegas, or how would you get your rods there? That's my question.
I get a little freaked out about it. I would actually take them on the plane. I would carry them on, and then like instead of bringing them,
you can't carry on 7-foot rods, can you?
Well, I'm pretty sure you can take them up to the front and then have them like, you know, store them in the bottom of the plane. You can't take them onto the actual plane where the seats are as carry on.
Dude, listen to this. If there's anybody that hears this and does that, I would love to have you on BTL afterwards to talk about it. That would be a badass show, would it not? Like, hey, I heard about it. I spontaneously signed up for it. Took everything on a carry-on, went and fished it for 3 days. Here was my experience.
Yeah. And the cool thing,
$400, you do it for $1,000.
Yeah. And the prize money, I mean, if you could go there, not catch a fish, and come away with good prize money because you win it. Yeah, because your boater caught them.
Yeah, a different boater every day. Like, you don't need a team partner, you don't need anything. It'll and whatever your boater catches each day counts for you, and whatever you catch count. No affiliation, but I just, you know, I'm not like getting sponsored to say that or anything. I just have a soft spot in my heart for that, and I know Billy's busting his ass trying to
Yeah,
make that
Billy
thing be the premier one.
Billy Egan is, in my opinion, the best tournament director out there right now. That guy works hard as you can believe, and really is able to pull together like the best well-run tournaments in the country. He's a good dude.
And he deals with some divas out there, Matt. I mean, let's just be honest. There's some, I mean, that's a tough.
But he's not afraid to pull the trigger and say,
No.
you know what, you're disqualified too. Like it is,
Yeah.
Did you break a rule or not? If you broke a rule, you're done. And that's one of the reasons he's so well respected in the industry.
Top 5 qualities in a top-notch tournament director. If you could build the perfect tournament director, what are the top 5 things? Let's make a list. Number 1 has to be impartial.
Yeah. Trust, honesty.
Trust, honesty.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really think it just comes down to you need somebody who's willing to listen to the facts as well. And like you said, I mean,
Good listener.
Yeah, good listener. I love, how do we always get into lists? Do you do this with everyone else? Or
No,
is it just me?
you're very good at playing the list game.
Oh yeah.
Mike said a voice like Bill Taylor. Yeah, check in here if any of you I mean, heck, we've got over 150 people on live. If you have any ideas on what qualities that you like in your tournament director. I like finite. Like once he's heard it and the decision has been made, like that's what it is. Like, there's no like waffling.
Well, how about somebody that is decisive?
Decisive. That's a key word.
They can make the decision without having to, go back and talk to 50 other people.
Sober.
I mean, that's a good thing too. I've seen some non-sober ones over the years.
Impartial. Let's do like words. So it all is my mom was an English teacher, so it all has to be like in the same format. So impartial, trustworthy, good listener, decisive, and what's number 5?
Did you put impartial on that?
Yeah, impartial is number 1. We have impartial, trustworthy, good listener, knowledgeable, knows the rules, every little thing, very knowledgeable of it. I think that is a great list. What are you laughing at?
I think it's funny. That's what we've gotten to. We're talking about what makes a good tournament director.
That's vitally important, is it not?
No, it is. I mean, at this point now, if there's any tournament organizations out there looking to start up or have a tournament director opening, they can use this list to hire that person.
Ooh, yeah, good. Well, I feel like organized and good planner is organized and good planner is true, but I feel like the planning and the organization can be built around a good tournament director to where he doesn't or she doesn't have to be bogged down by the details and can focus on being impartial, trustworthy, a good listener, decisive, and knowledgeable.
I really like Pete's idea of the beer belly though. Like I want a tournament director that when he's talking to you, his belly is doing this. Because that really shows like enforcement. Like I love that. I mean, you cannot argue. You're so focused on the belly going that way when he's harping on you that like that really helps drive the point home. It's hard to argue with a big belly.
Good Lord. Yeah, we're going to get there eventually. Yes, we're going to discuss the cut line this year. But before that, I would like to discuss a Rick Klum post that'll just send the fishing world into orbit. I got to pull it up. It's on Instagram. You haven't heard this yet, have you?
When did this come out?
This morning. Rick Klum official. Here's the post. Very stoic, just as he has for the last 50 years. Just going to read it. I would also like to point out I was on a bass fishing Hall of Fame board of directors call yesterday, and they did I think I can say this. I'm going to say it. They did a survey amongst the anglers, and over a quarter of professional anglers listed Rick Clunn as their angling hero. It's 1 out of 4. It's a lot of anglers out there. And to have 25% of the field, you're also talking about a guy in the early 2000s who was voted as the greatest of all time by the fans and the pundits. I mean, you're talking about a Bass Fishing Hall of Fame member. I mean, it's Rick Clunn, right? 50 years.
It's hard to argue with somebody that has the skill, the knowledge, the wisdom. I mean, you're talking about somebody who truly is an encyclopedia of fishing.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's things that I definitely have, I won't say I disagree. I just have a different viewpoint than what Rick has had in the past on some things. But
yeah, I feel like the only thing I could say is he maybe got hung up on the square bill for a decade too long.
Yeah, well, you could say the same kind of about the spinnerbait, and then he brought back that trickster and he won St. John's River on it. So It's kind of like, each bait has its time, and it's one of those things. I think with Rick Clunn, a lot of people, if they have any issues at all with him now, it's more like, should he be fishing? Like, is he taking?
Oh, absolutely, should.
Is he taking up a spot? Because I think he qualifies through the legend exemption.
Yeah. He doesn't take up a spot. The Legends exemption is an additional spot on the Elite Series. It does not take a spot.
Well, there's only a couple legend exemptions.
He's the definition of a legend, Matt.
I'm not arguing this. I said that if there's any issue some people have, they feel like he should hang it up. If you let me finish, Matt, and didn't cut me off, I would say that
cut you off.
Having Rick Clunn at the events is not just huge from a tournament organization standpoint. It's huge for the fans. It's huge for all of us fishermen that look at him and say, he has done it for 50 years. I could have 30 more years in me because Rick Clunn's been able to do it. So he sets a great example, and he's, from a conversational standpoint, from a wisdom standpoint, he talks in a manner where, again, if you disagree with him, that's fine. But he brings very valuable points that are great in terms of creating discussion. And that's what we need. We need that outside of fishing. We need that in the entire world. It's really about, hey, let's have intelligent discussions and figure out how to move forward from here, whether you're talking fishing or whether you're talking politics. We need that in our world, and that's what he does. So I love the fact that he's still involved in the tournaments.
2 hours ago, he posted this. No, it's a good statement.
No, I'm
stand on its own, just like I'm going to let this Rick Clunn statement stand on its own.
Yep.
The Greek, I got to read this. We'll see if I can read this. It's well written. The Greek mythology of Pandora's box is a metaphor for something that contains great troubles or blessings. The original fishing little green Pandora's box was made by Carl Lawrence. It was a little portable flasher depth finder that I regret I did not keep. It was the beginning of the electronic fishing revolution. Like today's electronic equipment, it was controversial. Even then, 50 years ago, there were states that wanted to ban them. After winning my second Bassmaster Classic in 1977, Carl invited me to Tulsa to fish with him. I will never forget what he said about his depth finders that day. He said, quote, "I am so disappointed in the fishermen. They should be using it to see and catch fish, but most are just using it to know the depth. I wonder what he would think about the dominant role that they are now playing. These new electronic boxes have certainly created different opinions on whether they are a blessing or a curse. I see it as neither. My opinions are just premature, unknown speculation. The only known for me is that it has taught me more about real bass behavior in the last 3 years than the other 47 years combined. I view it as a future evolution of our sport. As an angler, I must evolve too." What do you think?
It's funny that that's what the topic's on. Yesterday I got an oil change. Across the street from the oil change place is a antique mall. And I went over there with my 2 boys, and lo and behold, dude, there was a Lowrance Easy Fish Locator little green box for sale for $20. And I thought to myself, how could this thing have led to where we're at right now? Like I was very close to buying it, but then I was like, I don't need more stuff piled up. But you know, I understand what he's saying. I think there is a separation between that green box, which is the most rudimentary looking device, and today's technology. I think today's technology is substantially, like, not even in the same realm of importance, I guess, to today's fishermen. You know, that little green box pretty much was able to tell you depth. You know, you might be able to see a blip here or there for fish, but you know, at some point down the road, Matt, whether it's 5 years from now or 100 years from now, we're going to be able to compete by sitting in a chair and saying, okay, fishing reel, cast 50 feet, work the bait 10 feet. There's a blip. You know, you'll be able to control everything with our mind, whether that's just through some internal brain link or a fishing rod that is able to do everything for us just based on verbal command. And I think the question that the anglers need to ask themselves is that what we want? Like, as an angler, I don't want that. That does not excite me. But I think we can get there technology wise if that's the direction we want to go. So from that standpoint, I can't argue with what Rick Clunn says. I mean, I've learned a pile by using my device as well. I mean, it's an amazing tool. But what direction do we want the sport to go? You know, and I think when I say sport, I think there's complete separation between tournaments, like tournament fishing, and the fun fishermen. You know, so I don't think you can view this that whole topic of forward-facing sonar in one bucket. I think you need to break it out upon in individual situations. But at this point, like, technology is only going to continue to get better. I mean, there's rumors about new devices coming out that are going to make what we have right now look, you know, small.
I just thought it was interesting.
Well, no, now I want to know what you have to say on it. You're making me comment on it. I want to hear what your comment is.
I thought it was an interesting post. I thought it was well written. I thought it was insightful. Listen, there's literally nobody there's nobody else in bass fishing that can write that. I mean, the guy fished with Carl Lowrance. The guy's won 4 Bassmaster Classics. He's fished more tournaments than anybody else. He has a unique insight and a unique perspective, and has looked at things so outside of the box before that it's hard to take a statement like that. Like, you gave kind of your opinion on it, right? But like, if you're breaking down what he said, that has to stand alone. Because that's Rick Clunn. I mean, he's at the top of Mount Rushmore of the tournament angling community. I mean, you still have to give KVD another 20 years before he's there. And he already retired last year. So it's exactly what Mike is saying. It's hard to argue with Clunn's perspective. It is just an opinion. You could maybe find someone else who's been around for 40 years who has a different opinion, but I just thought it was important to put that statement out into the bass fishing ethosphere and let each person kind of.
You know, the interesting part on all of it for me is really more about the fact that Rick Clunn is pretty openly supporting forward-facing sonar. Like, you would think of all the people out there that he would potentially be somebody who would be against it based on what he's seen over that 50 years. And I think that alone says a lot. You know, you're talking about somebody who's always been a conservatist, somebody who's looking out for our fisheries, and he's still openly supporting it, which I think is powerful in itself.
Perfectly said. I thought that's interesting. All right, next on the list. What's your personal best smallmouth, Matt Stefan?
I have 3 smallmouth that weigh exactly 7 1/4 pounds. I had one certified weight at 7.24 pounds, and I've weighed in tournaments 2 that weighed 7 pounds 4 ounces.
You've weighed 2 7.4s in derbies?
Yeah.
How'd you catch those?
All 3 on a jerkbait.
No.
The first 7 1/4 was in March on a spring break trip. A buddy of mine and myself and my dad actually loaded up our 16-foot aluminum sea nymph and went down to Kentucky Lake, and we caught one there, which is wild because we had a flurry where, I think 5 or 6 casts in a row, we caught giant smallmouth, 5+ pounders. And my dad ended up losing one that was over 8 pounds. I just caught the 7 1/4. My dad lost this fish that was massive because the fish dove under the boat and got the line caught on a rivet under the boat.
Oh no.
So, like literally, he had fought it for a while. This was all on Rattling Rogues, but
you got nymphed.
And the fish was jumping on the other side of the boat, and my buddy and I were trying to net it when it would come up, but the line was caught underneath the boat. That was the biggest smallmouth I've ever seen.
Just seared into your memory until the day you leave this earth. That will be like it is currently happened yesterday.
It's actually weird because you would think I would remember that 7 1/4 really well, but I remember that big one more than like the 7 1/4.
Was he freaking out? Like, were you guys considering like jumping in the water? Did you know it was stuck on a rivet?
Oh yeah, like it was a long like it didn't just break off the first jump. That fish jumped probably 4 or 5 times, but you never knew where it was going to come up, right? Because he had like 10 feet of line past the rivet, and one time he'd come up by the back of the boat, one time he'd come up by the front, and we were like, one guy had the net, and then I had the net, and my buddy was like ready to like hand land it, and we never got it. And the other 2 instances
did it come off, or did it break off on the rivet?
No, it broke off finally on the rivet. Seesawed off.
Oh, that makes me sick.
It was terrible. It was sick. And then I've caught 2 on Sturgeon Bay in tournaments there, also on jerkbaits.
Good, like hooked well, like, or was it like a battle? Well, jerkbait's a sketchy proposition. We just saw what happened in the BPT.
Yeah.
Half the field had them. They were wearing them like mohawks every time.
Yeah. No, in that instance, no, I didn't have an issue, but I will say, those were spring tournaments. Water temp were, upper 40s. So the fish were not nearly as aerial and acrobatic as summer smallmouth. And only one of those I won big bass with. The other one we did not win big bass with.
Did you get beat by a larger or another smallmouth?
No, smallmouth. There's not many largemouth in the Sturgeon Bay area.
Yeah.
There's some, but not many.
Did you see Kyle Patrick's 8-pound 1 ounce smallmouth from yesterday?
I saw a quick post on it, and I saw you had him on for a little quick tidbit, but I did not. So I have not heard the details.
Well, he didn't give any details because it was during practice.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't really.
Did he catch it on the river or in the lake?
Dude, I did not ask details. I did not ask details. Here's the picture of it though. 8-1. It was only 5 ounces off of the New York State record.
Yeah. So that's like a classic looking St. Lawrence River fish. I don't mean in the river, but like, see how wide they are to the tail.
It looks like a triple tail.
Yeah, it's almost like they're distorted because they have like this really short meat section that separates the body from the tail. I've caught several fish there that have that look, and when you catch them, they're usually like 5-pound class fish. Not long. It's almost like they stop growing this way and just start growing top to bottom. It's such a cool fishery, dude. That place is amazing.
Have you seen a triple tail before? The saltwater fish?
I'm sure I've seen one. I can't relate. Oh, look at that. That looks just like one.
They like hang out around buoys and around like any like vertical structure, like in the ocean.
Kind of looks
but
like
I mean,
one.
like, look how they're built and that. And then look at this bad boy. Like, now that you know what a triple tail looks like. Look, it's the same. It like looks identical, doesn't it?
Yeah, the last time I was there, I caught one that weighed like 4.5 pounds. That was like 16 inches, and it almost looked like something had happened to his tail where it stopped growing, but the rest of him grew back around his tail. It was very similar looking fish to that.
That's wild. That tournament kicks off tomorrow. They're going to have 2 days. It is out of Waddington, so you were just there, and we'll get into that next. But like, 5 fish format, are they going to absolutely blister them on Thursday and Friday with the ability to go out into the lake, good conditions, and light wind?
Yes. Do you not think they're going to blister them?
I think Kyle said he had right at 30 pounds by 11 on the first day of practice. And I think I've seen 4 other Elite Series pros post personal bests.
Yeah, they're going to crush them.
The best one was Joey Cifuentes, who drew a windmill in the background of his picture. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I want to see it. There'll be several 100 century belts handed out.
I'm gonna have to screenshot it because he just put it in his story. 6'7", new personal best for him. Here it is. Watch that. Look at this.
That's gonna lead to a pretty good craze of people like adding emojis and little like things in the background.
Dude, you could green screen all of your fishing stuff with backgrounds to send people on wild goose chases.
So the question I have is, I would be like, I bet you he's obviously covering something up with the windmill, would be my guess. And I bet you he just drew a windmill over a windmill.
Yeah, that would be my guess. Chuck says, why are they landing fish in practice? You answer that, Matt. You just fish there. I mean, it doesn't really hurt to catch fish on the St. Lawrence, does it?
Yeah, no. I mean, that's one of the fisheries. Smallmouth fisheries in general are not the types of places where you need to worry about shaking fish, but they're also the type of fish it's really hard to fish for without catching a few, right? Like, if you're dragging a drop shot, you need to see the size of the fish. So you need to catch a couple. Like for me, generally, if I pull up on a spot and I catch, like, I caught, say, a pile of first fish was a 2-pounder, I'm catching another fish. If it's 2-pounder, I'm catching another fish. And I'll do that until I catch something that really interests me, like a 4-pound class fish. Because with smallmouth, a lot of times what you'll do is you'll run into a 2-pound hole. So you want to know whether they're 2-pounders or whether you have the shot at catching the quality that you need.
All right. Your season, your rookie season. Let's take a break and get into it. We're 35 minutes in. You good?
Yeah,
you
that's
good?
fine. We can take a break. I don't care.
All right. I'm sorry. I did cut you off a couple times there. I'll work on that. I get lit up for that on a pretty regular basis. I try to.
It's your
have
show,
like a little note here that says "shut the hell up," like for me, so like I see it and I know. But I got fired up and I cut you off like 3 times in the first 35 minutes.
I didn't. I felt like we had good conversation.
No, I think we did too. But I know. I was just preemptively apologizing for that.
Let's go to a break.
BTL on a Wednesday with Matt Stefan. We'll be back right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. the Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Yes.
Fishing isn't just a hobby, it's an obsession. Whether it's blazing hot or bitterly cold, bright sunshine, raining, or even snowing, someplace, somewhere, there's a fish that's ready to bite. And as the angler, you need baits that will catch the fish anywhere, anytime, no matter the conditions. From throwing topwaters to cranking the depths, know the baits to throw. Choose Spro.
Denali Fishing has me covered on the Bassmaster Opens, from their line of high-end rods, from the Android series all the way to the TAC series, the Novus series bait casting reels, all the way to the Covert series of tungsten in the cylindrical and the teardrop shapes. Denali has everything to keep me covered, whether I'm finesse fishing for smallmouth on the Great Lakes or flipping for largemouth in the slop down in Florida. The complete lineup is always on my deck and in my boxes. Denali Fishing.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top on Strike King.
Gear that just plain works. Cast after cast after cast. AFCO. Any fish, any water.
All right, welcome back. Detail on a Wednesday with Matt Stefan. I just realized that was, I hadn't mentioned this yesterday, that was Wes Logan in that last AFCO commercial. I don't know if he posted any. It's a social media show today. I'm just showing off everyone else's social media. I don't know if he posted anything. You heard what happened to him, right?
Yeah, scary. Man, that's something that all of us, whether you're a tournament angler or not, there's always that fear of getting into a boating accident. Whether with another boat or you hit something, either case, it's scary.
Broken ribs, facial lacerations, had to go to the hospital, and he came back and got right back on the water.
Yeah. I love it.
Like a submerged piece of dock or something, had it on video, claims that do you have the leash?
No, I do not. And it's something that I've multiple times this year, I've thought I need to put that on the boat, and I have not. It will be on next year's boat though. I run so much shallow water too, like river type stuff, where I know I need it, and I just have not used it in the past. But I've seen enough, video footage now of how that can matter. And the last thing you want is a 250 horse motor on your back deck swinging.
I've been in the boat with one that came on the back deck.
Yeah.
On the Arkansas River in college. It was like pouring down rain. I was fishing with my buddy Chip. It was like one of those things where it kind of veered off. It was, we were only going like 40. He was driving safe, just got a little bit off course. Boom, wing dam. Before you knew it, motor was on the back deck. It was petrifying.
Yeah. No, the boat I have now it's up for sale, anyone. But I just put the order in for next year's boat, and I will be putting a leash on.
That was scary.
Yeah.
All right. The floor is yours. The last one is done in the BPT for 2024. Had Jacob Wheeler on. He wrapped up his third Angler of the Year in the past 4 years. Recorded a show with Michael Neal that'll air next week, next Monday. Michael Neal will be on. He won with like 89 pounds on the final day of a very windy St. Lawrence River. You ended the year, your rookie season, on the Bass Pro Tour after a very successful invitationals and FLW Tour career. You cashed, you made the cut in basically half of the events. And like I said, 56th in the Angler of the Year. So just to catch people up to speed real quick, a lot of stuff has happened between the time you qualified for the Bass Pro Tour and now, to where there's going to be 65 anglers on the Bass Pro Tour next year. Then they're going to whittle that number down to 50 the following year. I don't know how the hell these points work and who's in and who's out, but I know there's a lot of BTL fans that want to know. And I would imagine, we haven't really gone in depth on this, I would imagine you have an idea where you are. Are you willing to talk about that?
Yeah, we can talk about it. I don't know. I did receive a official list from MLF. I don't know that that's been released to the public, but I mean, all year long, my little brother he's like a statistician. I mean, he can work everything into Excel. So he's been
an engineer.
No, he's not an engineer, actually.
Shocking.
But he's been keeping the spreadsheet for me. So I've got my own results, and they've matched up perfectly with the updates we've gotten from MLF throughout the year. And so right now, I mean, I don't know what you want to get into specifically, but
it's up to you, dude.
I ended up first out. Well, it depends on how you look at it, but I mean, basically what they do is the roster is chosen by taking the top 46 lifetime average anglers. So, they take if they've been there for 6 years, they take those 6 years, and for every 3 years they fish, you can drop a year. So if you fish all 6 years, you can drop your 2 worst years. If you've been there 2 years, your average is 2 years, and they figure that out. And then at that point, they take the top 46 anglers is what they're doing for next year. And then everyone else then is put into a separate bucket, and the 15 highest finishers in that separate bucket from 2024 get chosen or get invited back. And then the remaining 20 anglers at that point don't get invites back. So in that, being a rookie, they don't give us the ability to have a 1 year average. So all of the rookies that came in are only allowed to qualify through that separate bucket after the 46 lifetime averages are taken out. And when you look at that, I ended up, I was number 15 going into the St. Lawrence River, and now I'm number 16. So depending on how you look at it, I'm the first man out. But at least I thought I was the first man out. And then the email we got the other day from MLF actually indicates that if somebody were to drop out at this point, they revert back to the AOI lifetime average and then go down that list. So using that logic, it actually drops me to being 12th or 13th out. Even though I finished higher than everyone else who did not make the cut this year, I end up being like the highest rookie that will get chosen. All the lifetime averages get pulled out first. And using that interpretation of the rules, I will not be getting an invite back unless 20% of the field drops out, which I don't see happening, which is pretty disappointing, because that was not my understanding, I guess, of the rules. I thought that they would roll down that list of 15. And, ultimately, Matt, I did not perform this year. So like being even in this position is pretty disheartening on my own right, because I had one of those years where I had the fish on every tournament this year. I had the fish on to either make the cut or at least cash a check, except for the Show On River. That was the one that, I had a big stumble, finished in the bottom of the field, and ultimately that cost me. But performance wise, I was pretty much right in the mix in every event. And, I still, even with all the lost fish I had, still was pretty much right there. But I mean, at this point, I just don't see how I'm going to requalify for next year based on how we're doing it.
Okay, you said the top how many in the 2024 Angler of the Year standings automatically requalified?
The 46 anglers with the highest lifetime average.
Oh, so not the top 46 just in the points.
Not from 2024. They take the 2024, your point standing from 2024, and use that to figure out lifetime average. But that's only for anglers that were there last year or before. So any of the new rookies coming in do not get a lifetime average.
So you just go based on your 1 year.
Well, it's not even my 1 year standings from 2024. It's where I fall in that group of 15. So you could potentially finish 16th in points this year and not make it if the 15 guys in front of you were not high enough in the top 46 lifetime average. Ultimately, it looks like if you were in the top 54 in points this year, you qualified. That's what it rolled out to.
I still don't see how you missed the top 54 by 4.5 Angler of the Year points, but you're 12th on the list to requalify.
Well, that rolls back to, so we got angler agreements, and not again. I don't want to get, I guess, too far into this.
Yeah. That's, I understand.
The way the interpretation by MLF of our angler agreement, which several anglers I've spoken to were not under the same interpretation. The way MLF is interpreting it is once the season ends, the 46 highest guys and the 15 remaining highest guys, that's a cut line. So there's no rolling down from there. Every potential opening that happens will then go to somebody who's next up in the lifetime average. So if you do that, you jump over me because I don't have a lifetime average. And then I fall all the way down to being the highest remaining rookie at that point, which is funny in itself because this is my 14th year fishing at the FLW tour or, the highest levels, but that's how they're figuring it out. So it's pretty disappointing because I actually thought when I was driving home from New York, knowing I was 16th, you hear rumblings of people potentially taking a Bassmaster Legend exemption, or there's rumblings of guys potentially retire. It was like, all right, well, no matter, like, I really thought no matter how it went down, if anybody left, that I would potentially be, I would be the next one in, whether it was somebody who left just from the group of 15, who didn't qualify through lifetime average, but just left from the group of 15, that would bump me up. But at the same time, if you took the next angler on the lifetime average, so number 47, well, number 47, I believe was Jonathan Van Dam, and Jonathan Van Dam, because he was not in the top 46, he fished his way in through the top 15. So I was like, well, then you'll take Jonathan Van Dam out of that category, put him to number 47, which will then bump me up as well. But there's no roll-ups, so they're not doing it.
I really don't know what to say about that, to be honest with you.
Was
that ducking?
I thought we were coming on the show to talk about Master Angler Catch.
No, we are. I did mention it. You said you were cool with chatting about it. I didn't know you were going to go down.
I am. I'm not looking, I'm keeping my fingers crossed at this point that
you misinterpreted it. You grossly misinterpreted.
No, I've had multiple discussions with Major League Fishing at this point, so it's really a matter of the biggest issue I see with this right now is they've got similar rules set in place for next year because they're cutting the 50, and I think it's a big oversight when they create it. Remember, this is the first year they've done this.
Yeah.
They're trying to cut down to anglers, and I don't think that this was expected or planned or really thought out.
Foresight was not there.
So I'm looking at it, like I said, the anglers I've talked to, whether, it's my angler liaison for the angler committee or whether it's just buddies that fish the circuit, everyone that I've talked to was surprised by this. So the issue I see is, well, if it's an issue, which I think it is an issue, I don't think it's necessarily set up properly. And I realize that I'm the one that would benefit and that somebody else, would not benefit from it. But if this is going to be an issue for next year as well with the same setup, so if it's something that needs to be fixed, it should be fixed. But again, ultimately it's a business decision on their point. We're all businesses. So, I need to make decisions that are best for mine, and they need to make decisions that are best for them. I don't know I guess, all of the logic that goes into the decisions. I can make assumptions, but that's all it really is.
The good thing is you do have a thriving YouTube channel where you provide daily tips, tactics, and updates. So for those that are invested in your professional fishing journey, I'm sure that's where, when the time is appropriate, you'll keep everybody updated on what's happening.
Yeah, I try to keep the gossip out of it, but I definitely give updates.
Well, this isn't gossip.
Well, no, I was going to say I give my updates on my personal career. So, as the season progresses and tournament circuits finish up and schedules come out, we'll figure out where I'll be next year. But I would love to be at the BPT. That's the thing. That's Matt, what's so disheartening for myself, and it's hard to swallow. I consider myself a tournament angler. That's what I've grown my career over. So you want to be at the top level, and I truly enjoy that format. Like I think I had a blast this year. I've got a lot of friends that fish it. So it's really going to be disappointing if I don't get to fish it. And at this point, it doesn't look like I'm going to get to fish it, but life goes on, and there's some opportunity in this in some form or fashion. Don't know what that looks like specifically right now, but we'll be all right. We'll figure something out.
Well, that sucks, man. You didn't have a bad year.
No, I mean,
you were like right there almost every tournament. Yeah.
Well, and that's so another, if I could change format with the BPT, and this is going to be something that is changed next year. I was not a fan of the point system. If you, the way they do points, because you have two separate groups, is you share your points with the other group. So, in this case, I finished 22nd out of 40 in my group. I share my points with the group B guy that finished 22nd. So it's really hard to create separation unless you make the cut. If you make the top 10 cut, all of a sudden you're gaining like 2 points for every place, 2 points on every other guy that did not make the cut. So if you don't make cuts, and I didn't make any cuts, I cashed several checks, but I did not make any top 10s. It's really hard to gain those points. And, I went back and I looked at several of the anglers that were around me just to kind of see performance wise. Cause I don't really I basically finished right in the middle of the pack in every event except for one. And when you look at the other guys, several of the other guys had they had one top 10 finish, and then they had two really bad finishes, but that top 10 finish they gained enough points to offset a shared spot finish.
Yeah, those are all those half points right there.
Yeah, that's how the half points are received. So it's, in a way, it's basically, if you make a top 10 cut, so you're in the top 20, top 10 from either your brackets, your days, your groups, you basically get the points as if it's a tournament out of 80, so 80 contestants. But if you don't make the top 10 because you're splitting points, it's like fishing a tournament that's out of 40 points. It's kind of how it is. It's a lot easier to gain more points with a high finish than it is with mediocre finishes. And that's where I was, right in the middle of the pack. Was not, overall, it's not a terrible finish. I mean, I got paid in a bunch of tournaments, but it was not good enough to move me on. And again, I'm in this position because of my own dang fault.
Yeah. And we're talking about this because you're a professional bass angler and this is what you do for a living.
Yeah. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining.
No, you're not.
I'm
Look,
really
everyone's like, dude, you're killing it on it.
Yeah. Well,
and you performed. That wasn't lack of performance. You performed. Look at the field you're fishing against. This is the top. There's only 180 guys. There's 180 guys now. I was going to say 179, but Bass has lost some, so they're right at 100 that can say that they're at the Elite Series or the BPT level. There's a lot more than 180 guys that have been trying to get there, me included, for a long time. Have been there, have not. I mean, dude, that's.
Well, now I get to join you, Matt. We'll have to figure out
who knows
how we can get back there.
Well, I don't know what I'm doing next year. We haven't even dug into that yet. But and probably won't today because we have more pressing issues to speak about. but we'll get into that after our final break. I'm trying to break it up because I have to run all the ads, so we'll do like a couple short breaks. Does that sound good? I'll give you time to go get like a Bloody Mary or a mimosa or something, and then come back and we can talk about more enjoyable things. It's BTL on a Wednesday. When we come back, the impossible quest and the impossible time we've had trying to find 10 days in our schedule in the fall to fit this in to catch 28 Master Angler In-Fisherman size species. Do you know where your In-Fisherman hat is?
Ready for it.
All right. I'm going to run a commercial, and I'm going to see if I can run the commercial and go get my In-Fisherman hat, and then we will compare our schedules, and we will see if we can nail down a date as to when this is going to happen this fall.
Let's do it.
BTL on a Wednesday with Matt Stefan. We'll be back right after this.
Your early morning mentality is your every hour mentality. All gas, no brakes. Focus, purpose, power. Destined for the water, but confident everywhere else. A calming buzz before the storm, the truth of nature itself. You can't catch lightning in a bottle. There's a limit out there, but it's not with your gear. Unrelenting power delivery. Unparalleled weight savings. Keeping you on the water, whether you run a 9.9 or outscoping your best 5. In this rare air, there's power in the silence. It's a mindset, thinking only of the things that matter and freeing your mind from the things that you trust.
Get the best patterns backed by tournament data. Start by finding the best 10% of your lake. Know exactly what to look for and what to throw. After that, just put them in the boat. Try the Deep Dive app today.
Get that beast right there.
Have you considered purchasing new electronics for your rig? The type of mounts you choose to protect your investment should be part of the decision-making process. No matter if you prefer 1, 2, or 3 graphs up front, Beatdown Outdoors has a solution for you. Adjustable, versatile, rigid, and made in the USA. What's your ultimate electronics setup? Check out the full selection of Beatdown Outdoors products by visiting beatdownoutdoors.com.
In 2023, we became a household name in the crappie fishing world thanks to Power Breaks, the game changer. Hey, bass fishing world, buckle up, because you're next. It's going to be fun. Welcome to the next evolution of our product line, Power Breaks Sidekick, designed to install right on your shallow water anchors. We are the first and only fishing brake company to offer a breakaway system. Just like with the Game Changer, the Power Breaks Sidekick has it as well. And it's not a matter of if you're going to need it, it's when. Power Breaks, the most durable fishing brakes available on the market today. Made right here in the USA with our rock-solid 2-year warranty. Hey, not all fishing brakes are built equally, and you owe it to yourself to find out why ours are different. Power Breaks Sidekick. Order yours today at mypowerbrakes.com. You'll be glad you did.
All right, welcome back, BTL on a Wednesday. Did you ever decide to upgrade to the that kind of boat control deal, like the Power Brake style stuff?
Yeah. So I've got.
You did get them. Okay,
I've got them.
I knew you were heavily interested in them.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to using them. So I got them like a week ago, and I was going to put them on the boat, and then I was like, well, I'm going to the St. Lawrence, and I actually plan to do a lot of largemouth fishing on the St. Lawrence and shallow slop, and which I know a lot of people think is crazy, but it actually panned out all right in terms of catching some fish. So I was a little hesitant to put them on from that standpoint for just one go about. And then I know I've got the new boat ordered. So I was like, I'm just going to throw them on there. And then that gives me this fall to really play around with them and figure them out and do some content, talking about them. Cause there is a lot of questions geared about them. And I think a lot of people view it as solely as like a forward facing sonar thing, but I really think that there's some good applications in shallow water that I want to play around with too.
the best application for it, I mean, outside of like going with the wind and being able to slow your boat down and not get on top of the fish, no one, and I mean, I've had them all year, dock fishing.
Yeah. Dock. So dock fishing, being on a river here where I do a lot of shallow current fishing, and the current will push you into certain stuff, like to be able just to have enough time to kick those on, back up from say a lay down tree or something before the current pushes you in. It'll give you enough time to make an extra pitch or two into a spot without blowing it out.
All right. Explain what we're doing while I get the In-Fisherman stuff pulled up. Like what the quest, how we ended up in this situation.
Yeah, dude, I don't even remember exactly how we got there. I know you created the challenge one time when we were on, but ultimately what Matt and I want to do is catch a In-Fisherman Master Angler Award fish, a sized fish in a week to 10-day period, and just dominate the Master Angler Awards. So, that involves us figuring out what locations we want to go to, because not all species, so there's different regions, and in each region you have different size limits to be considered Master Angler Award. So we could be traveling all over the United States, even into Canada, to try to catch all of these Master Angler Awards. And we've been working now for several months, trying to figure out strategy, whether we're driving, we're flying. We've got Adam Bartuszek, who's going to film it for us. So we're going to make a bunch of content on this. But ultimately, it's just, it's really a question of how long is it going to take us to catch those 27 Master Angler Awards. We're planning 10 days. I think we may only need 6 to 7 days
to catch them all.
Oh yeah.
What have you got some sneaky stuff up your sleeve?
No, I like to shoot for the stars.
All right. So In-Fisherman, big in the Midwest. We're both Midwest guys.
Yep.
And growing up, and you can go back and listen. It was the whole In-Fisherman thing with Thomas Allen, and the way it started was then I just had Matt come on, and he was only supposed to be on for like 5 minutes to be like, hey, like I was in In-Fisherman, and it was one of the highlights of my career to be finally published like in In-Fisherman well, this turned into a 2.5-hour podcast, like I said, by the end of it. But the Master Angler Awards are every year. They have a kept and a catch and release division. So based on the region you're in, like a 22-inch catch and release largemouth bass in region 1, which is the region that we grew up in, which is that, Illinois, Missouri, Indiana, Ohio, Wisconsin, that type of thing, 22 inches. So when I was a kid, take a tape measure with me the whole time, I was trying to catch master anglers so I could get the patch. And I remember there were guys in like my bass club and other guys that had like 4 master angler patches. So then we were like, well, we're like grown-ups, but this still intrigues us. So let's just go on this epic adventure. And then we both have shows and channels and videos. And Adam has done an incredible job with the Crappie Chronicles, documenting that and the Champion Series and all sorts of stuff. So we have all these elements put together, and we have contacts all over the country, all over the continent. And we're like, let's do it for 10 days this fall for the love and joy of fishing for all these different species. So now we have to figure out when, because we've had like 3 meetings and we have never been able to get our schedules together.
Well, let's be clear. We had dates. We no longer have dates, Matt. Why don't you can talk about that?
Well, I went up to Champlain to try to make the Bass Nation Championship. I'm 69th in the points in the Bassmaster Opens. The whole goal is to make the Classic, make the Elite Series. And that regional offered me a chance to finish in the top 20 of the 150 boats and then make the Bass Nation Championship, which happens to be on Grand Lake in Oklahoma in November. Fisher, I've spent a lot of time on that time of the year with all the fish and chips we've done in the past. I like to fun fish at that time of the year. I love that lake that time of year. It's probably about the only time of the year I can catch them on Grand consistently, in my opinion. So I went up and I finished 4th in that tournament and I qualified for it. Now I've still got everything ahead of me, right? Top 3 in that tournament, which is a 200+ boat tournament in November, go to the Bassmaster Classic in Fort Worth. The winner of that tournament has a portion of their entry fees paid for, cash prize, boat and truck to use, and they're on the Elite Series, not to mention all the glory, honor, prestige, and notoriety that comes with being the Bass Nation champion. So that's why I did that. However, that was also the week. Practice starts on Friday, November 1st through that, and the tournament runs through November 9th. So that was also the week we had kind of earmarked for it. And it was like, hey, Matt, if you suck at Champlain, we'll do it this week. Well, I mean, just went up there and just jacked the smallies. Smoked them, Matt.
And that screwed us all up date-wise.
But I don't think it did. Did it really?
Oh, really?
I might have for you. What is your okay?
You tell me what dates, like what dates is that tournament? What dates can you not do it in October?
I am good through October 31st.
Well, we had the last like 10 days of October before.
I had this pulled up right here. I think I've got it pulled up correctly. I literally did this before the show so we would have it, but I want to make sure. So I have 3 days of practice. I always like those letters where it's like the congratulatory letters. You know
Sounds
what I mean?
Like
like
you only need 2 days of practice. Grand Lake.
No, I'm gonna be canceling a lot of things in my life because it goes off limits on the 12th, and I'm all in on this one, Matt. Like this is one of those where you get like maybe 2 or 3 of these in your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I mean, wheelhouse. Not I wouldn't say wheelhouse, but tournaments where there's a lot on the plate, and you're familiar with it.
Yep.
Okay, here it is right here. Registration. Oh crap! I guess I need to register for this thing. Oh,
See,
yeah.
Now I need to get Sarah down here to make sure we can redo those October dates, because for like a month now you
tournament dates are, well, I know it was the second week in November. Tournament dates are November 6th, 7th, and 8th. Practice dates, official practice period, November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, Saturday through Monday.
Okay, so how much time do you need before that event?
I would like a day.
Well, you should probably want more than that, don't you?
Well, as long as I'm back.
You're going to need like 3 days to sleep after this.
No, dude, I just did 26 straight days. I want to not have any thought process through my head. I want this to be like in July, I fished 26 straight days, daylight to dark, except for the half day of practice. Right. And I've never felt more dialed in going into Champlain. So I want to be able to turn my brain off and put an overabundance of importance on this to where it's irrationally important to me. And the only way to do that is to immerse yourself. You know, that's true.
Yeah, I like that.
So I'm good going total immersion on that. So as long as I'm back on Thursday, like if the last day is Thursday the 31st, as long as I'm back by Friday the 1st, and I've got that marked out, I'm good. Practice starts on the 2nd.
What if we did like the 24th? Or no. What if we did the 18th?
That's what I was thinking.
And then we could go through like the 27th. 1, 2.
That's what I was thinking.
Now I gotta
so the U.S. Open.
Meatloaf. I gotta call Sarah down here.
She's on the instant feedback. She's letting everybody know what's going on.
Comment section.
Yeah, no, she's literally keeping everybody. Like someone asked if you're fishing the team series, and she said yes. Drew Gill. Drew Gill. And I love how she went as Dr. Sarah Stefan. That's a power move. Yes, Drew Gill picked Matt as his team partner, so they'll be fishing the team event. And then someone asked if you're fishing the Open at La Crosse, and she said that you're number 30 on the waiting list. However, I will say that waiting list, I feel like every time
she said that works.
Okay, sweet. That waiting list, I think they literally make up an arbitrary number every time you call.
Oh, Bassmaster?
Yeah. I think it's like a joke for them. I think they're sitting in there like, your number, watch this, 26. And then they all wait to see how people respond. I think it's like a game.
Well, here, I just got my last update. Where is it? I don't know if I have it. I'll be able to find it. Here, message from Bass. This was a few days ago. I'm 29 on the list. And that's been updated since January 4th. I get like a monthly update. I started as number 35. Now I'm number 29. I mean, honestly, I think I'm just going to pull out of that event at this point, or just
no.
off.
Listen, the deposits for that event were due yesterday. So you're going to get a new updated.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We got to plan this.
You will see.
This is more.
You
important.
will see.
So we're putting October 18th through the 27th in.
Whoa. So let's go. Let's make sure. Let's go over to One Bass. And the U.S. Open on Lake Mojave is October 13th through 15th. Are you fishing that?
No.
You're not.
Mm-mm. So I can do this.
Okay. October.
Are you fishing? You're not fishing it, are you?
No.
I mean, I think this is a good time period too for fish, like big fish.
Yeah, 100%. So Grand goes off limits for practice on the 12th. I'm going to Japan the end of September, which is going to be awesome. Yeah.
What are you going there for?
I'm going to get to see like the actual Sunline factory.
Oh, cool.
Dude, I cannot wait. It's been like a couple years in the making and it's never been able to work out.
Throw me in your gym bag. I'll come with on that one.
I do need a list of baits that I need to pick up there though. Like I think I'm going to bring an empty suitcase and then I'm going to sell a kidney. What? You say that like it was a joke.
You could sell a kidney. Yeah, I'm sure you could make that happen over there. You probably should make sure you can bring it back. I tell you,
I'm going to check it.
I have such a pain in the butt bringing fishing tackle on airplanes, even in the U.S.
Even like if you check it?
Oh, well, no, I'm talking like carry-on. I don't like checking anything. But I mean, like carry-on wise, like when I go through my local one here in Wisconsin, like they're like, oh, where are you going fishing? But like every other city I'm in, they're like, this is a deadly weapon. And I'm like, it's a 2-aught.
I've never had any issues with that. I've taken jerk baits on planes before. But here, so I had heard a story. I will leave this person. He's in the industry. And he went to Japan for the first time. And he had his big suitcase. Well, then they went to all the tackle stores and he lost his composure. He lost his sense of reality, I guess. He ended up with a mountain of tackle, right? And it's time to go home. And he's maxed out on check bags. He's maxed out on carry-on bags. And he's not, he's made good business decisions in his life. So it's not like he's like, oh, this is my only pair of shoes till 2028. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He dumped all of his clothes out in the middle of the bed, left them in Japan, and filled his suitcase with fishing tackle so he could get it home. 10 days of clothes, everything he brought, just left it in the hotel room.
I mean, that's pretty, I give some respect to that guy. That's pretty awesome.
How baller is that?
You can buy more clothes. That Japanese tackle is hard to get, though.
Exactly.
I mean, just a couple pair of Dockers.
So, U.S. Open is out. So we're looking at, I'm going to write this down. So are we going to start the quest on the 18th? So we'll meet up and do all that on the 17th then, right?
Yeah, which is a Thursday night, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
October 17th through the 27th, you said?
Yeah, which is Sunday.
Let me text.
We got to talk to Bart.
Yeah, let me text Bart.
I love that we're doing this on a live show right now. Like, People at home are probably just like,
why
come
would
on.
we know? Why would we do it any other way? The concept. I told you the concept
know.
was
I mean-
born on live
Yeah.
on
This is
BTL.
multitasking,
The
making content and plans.
I'll just call him. What?
What if he doesn't answer? That'll really make this negative.
No, it would make it negative.
What's up?
Hey, you're live. Don't say anything weird.
Okay.
Did you just wake up? It's 10:47 for God's sake.
It's 9:47.
9:47.
Oh yeah, you are sent. It's still 9:47.
I was editing really late. I was getting Champions Tour video done.
I watched a bunch of those the other day. Those are freaking fantastic.
Thank you.
That's all on the Champions Tour website.
Yep, on their YouTube page.
Yep, Sobe's also doing a good job with those things.
Yeah, he's been doing good.
And he's catching them. And he's catching them with 360. The dude doesn't even look where he casts, and he's still beating people.
Yeah, I think he said, after, because the St. Croix River just finished, so the regular season's done. I think he's finished the regular season in 15th place, heading to the championship. So
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, I got Matt Stefan on. We're live, and I think we definitely have dates. You've been begging for dates. We got dates.
okay, what are the dates?
We're gonna need you October 3rd through the 31st.
So we're doing the whole month.
October 17th is when we're gonna get together. That's a Thursday. And then we'll have things wrapped up by the 27th. So the 17th through the 27th.
Okay.
That's 10 days.
I think exactly what I had marked down.
You're good with that?
It is what we had.
Okay. I'll call you after the show. Go back to sleep.
Well, I'm going to start editing, but yeah, that works. That'll be fun. And then,
Cool.
Yeah, I guess we'll figure everything else out. But, yeah, cool.
All right. Later.
See ya.
Bart's in.
Well, that was easy.
Yeah. So October 17th through the 27th. Now, did you secure copious amounts of funding at ICAST like you were supposed to?
No.
That's unfortunate.
Well, it was hard to do without my partner who was not even at ICAST.
That's because I was busy preparing for the Lake Champlain Bass Nation Regional, which I can't believe they scheduled so close to ICAST with it being such an illustrious big name tournament.
Yeah, you were in New York for like a month straight.
Yeah.
Practicing for that tournament. Yeah.
Shook a minnow 24 straight days.
It honestly, dude, it was pretty surprising how many deals that I thought I had in place. And then when they found out you weren't there, they were like, well, we'll see. I mean, it really came down like you would have been the closer on all the deals. And then I just couldn't do it without you. Everyone wanted to talk to you and see you in person. And then they were like, well, because Panger's
highly
not here,
suspicious.
because Panger's not here, you guys must not be committed to the project. So they were hesitant.
I find that highly unlikely.
Well, I'm just saying, you can believe what you want to. That is the truth. So many
After that, it
deals.
goes on. I thought he was talking about his core tackle business partner. Remember, you guys had an issue at the Classic with Johnny being a social butterfly. And remember that? Like you're like, it's a real problem. Like Johnny wants to glad hand all over the expo and not stay in the core tackle booth. We're gonna have to put like a leash on him.
Yeah, I mean Johnny is a butterfly. He just he floats. He wants to talk to everybody. It's
especially
hard
after he got that home gym.
Yeah, dude. Now I know. Now he's getting all jacked and ripped.
Have you been to his house since he's got that home gym installed?
No, I have not.
Dude, so he has like a he has like a home gym with all the mats. Like I mean, he looks like he's a beach body consultant. Like he's trying to sell you P90X3. And then but he's got like for the garage door, it's like the width. So how wide's a garage door? 9 foot?
Wide? A single or a double?
It's a double.
Yeah, so it's probably more like 14 foot, 12 foot.
Then it's a single.
It's a single and a half.
It's a car and a half.
Yeah.
And it's got one of those mesh like bug spray things, but it's got the do you have to go anywhere, by the way?
No.
Okay,
I booked
sure.
the whole day for this.
What is the word? Magnets. And then they magnetize together so you can be outside without the bugs, and then boom, you pop the magnets apart and you're in the gym.
What you're telling me now is Johnny is one of those guys pumping iron in his garage door.
Yes, and here's the crazy thing. So right in front of the free weights, so you know where you stand and you like look in front of the mirror to make sure you're doing the form. Yeah. Except I'm not kidding. We could call him up and he'll verify this. Is his Taj Mahal of swim baits. So whenever he's doing curls with like the 35s, he's looking at 7 to 12 inch swim baits collection. And like 9-inch soft plastic, all of like the big giant, like manly swim baits.
Well, you know why that is. I mean, he was so scrawny before, he probably had a hard time throwing those all day. So it's motivation. Like, I got to be able to do this 8 hours a day. Big swim baits. Yeah, he's pumping iron hard. I did not know any of this. In fact, I thought he had a gym membership at like 12 different gyms in the Rogers, Arkansas area.
I think that it's all homegrown.
Wow. I'm questioning. He's gotten so big though. I'm questioning if he's taking anything.
He doesn't strike me as the type to take shortcuts.
Well, I'm not saying he's taking shortcuts. I think he's taking maybe some enhancers.
Yeah, which would be a shortcut.
I mean, depends how you look at it.
I mean, you know what he looks like now, right?
Yes.
I mean, this was him when I met him.
Yeah, I know. Now he's got guns on him.
That's me too. Look at that hat curve.
Hey, this is all part of the core tackle plan, dude.
I had zero sunlight getting in the side of my face, did I? I couldn't even wear sunglasses. My hat was so curved.
This is all part of the core tackle plan. Johnny said I'm going to get ripped so I can go intimidate all the knockoffs to keep people from copying our stuff.
That is an issue now, isn't it? I noticed that there's several things out there that I'm like, wonder if Matt's losing sleep over this new product.
What is that whole saying?
Imitation is the greatest form of flattery.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. I'm very, very flattered. I'm very flattered.
What were we talking about?
What else do we need for the Master Angler? Yeah.
Okay, so the 17th through the 27th. So we have to pay for this somehow.
Yeah. It's going to be the hard part with it is going to be airfare, because I don't think we can have any airfare pre-booked really, other than like initial airfare. So like airfare is going to be pretty expensive if it's like, all right, we got to jump on a plane. What can we get right now?
See, you have two active boys, and so Sarah's not like, so like I'm going to, Court works 7 days a week too, but I feel like we need someone to like help us plan this.
Yeah, but you can only plan so much because it's based on success of us finishing species. Because if we go to a place and we catch one on the first cast,
then we need someone to call where we're like, we need to be here ASAP.
Yeah.
And then boom, they're on it. I just know me, I can't multitask at all. I can barely show up at 8:30 in the morning 4 days a week, man.
Well, Sarah will help us in whatever form or fashion.
And so will Court. And Court knows how the airlines work because she's a full-time flight attendant for a regional airline that flies for 5 different airlines.
Just throw us in the hatch with all the luggage. I'll ride down there for a quick puddle jump.
Or we did throw this out, which sounds outlandish until it's not.
RV? You want RV?
No. If there is a BTL listener that may have access to private airfare. Well, that's all I said. I don't know why you're laughing at that.
No, I'm all for that. I don't know how many BTL listeners out there have their own plane. It's possible.
I know that back in the
sure
Elite
there's some.
Series day, you would know. I'm not joking here. You would know if Boyd Duckett was making the cut because at around 1 o'clock, you would see a small private plane flying over the lake to the nearest municipal airport if the day was not going as planned for Boyd. And he'd be out. He'd have his driver on it. His driver would drive the truck at boat home, and he'd be off jet setting about back to I feel
like after today's episode, I don't know that Boyd wants to loan us his jet.
I would venture to say that the Duckett Express is not an option.
Okay.
Although that would be a maniacal twist, wouldn't it?
I still think the RV might not actually be a bad option. And I know that requires a lot of driving, but we would be able to sleep at the same time.
Yeah, dude, if we have to go from Idaho to New York.
I know, but we could also get done a lot of the content at the same time. Like, there's going to be so much multitasking going on.
October 17th. So you're saying we're going to need something like, let's say, Chris Zaldane has, with a studio in the back and all the trimmings.
It's something that has crossed my mind. I mean, he's like, he's got some really nice stuff. I'm talking like we could just rent one for the 10 days, set up a studio in the back to get done what we need to get done. You know, Bart's going to have so much stuff.
I can set up the ETL studio in 6 minutes.
Okay.
So that's not an issue.
Well, I'm saying we could be doing the shows from the RV while we're driving to the next place, because that's going to be an issue we have. We talked about like going to like a local bar or a local restaurant and filming from there and having like fans meet up and greet. But at that point, you're also losing fishing time or travel time.
We're going to have as much fishing time as possible.
It would also concern me that a lot of the fans would want to buy us beers, and it's hard to turn down beers. In which case that would make it harder to fish.
Yeah, but that would be all part of the process, right?
Oh, well, that would be part of the fun for sure.
Yeah.
And I think we should keep that part secret for like when the content starts rolling out, like how we decide to do that travel aspect of it.
Like this Chevy, this is all I think of when I think of like traveling in a rented RV. The family vacation.
I love
this. That's what I think like of what, like renting the RV.
I mean, it's a great movie. The one line I always think about from this movie is if I'm anywhere near a buffet line, I'm always like, I'll have some of the yellow, some of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually not from Christmas Vacation. It's from Vegas Vacation. But
this is Vegas Vacation.
Yeah.
No, this is from Christmas Vacation. Yours is from Vegas.
Yeah. The other thing with the
transportation is an issue.
We could tow a boat behind the RV too, in which case we'd have the boat part. What we need to do is really pick out species wise where we want to travel, because if we can do it all within, you know, a single region like we talked about, then the airfare may not actually help us.
And then that would definitely make sense to do the RV.
Yeah.
I think we got a big chunk of it done though now. Now we know what the dates are. We can start dialing it in. I think so. I have been inundated positively, like very positive, but like, so Instagram, I wonder if I can go into my messages. Can you go into your messages and search like keywords that people have sent you? Because I have so many that were like, you know, Master Angler Award.
Yep. Are you looking for species? I've got 2 hot leads on bluegill too.
You do. Okay, so here's the deal. If you guys, if people have a lead, right? You have to put the words Master Angler in your DM. Because that way it here it is in the messages. That way it shows up. Yeah, like here's one that I just found from June. Hey man, I'm the oddball cat fisherman that follows BTL in the Elite Series. I'm a charter captain. I make YouTube videos for catfish. Been meaning you to message you a while. I heard about your Master Angler quest, and I think I can help you out.
Yeah, I got one here from an individual named Colin that gives a lake good for yellow perch, and he says an hour and a half away he's got a single ledge that we can catch smallmouth, flathead, channel cat, and crappie all on the same ledge on a lake that's an hour and a half away from the first lake.
Here's one. It's just a guy saying that we're blanking nuts for trying this.
Well, I really think we need to, from a fundraiser standpoint, not fundraiser for us, but like as a St. Jude's aspect, we need to have the fans do pledges. So for every Master Angler Award we get, somebody can pledge $10 or $5 or $1.
Well, let's get this thing figured out first, and then we can go from there.
Yeah.
Let's get this dialed in first. All right, so we got dates. October 17th through the 27th. We have our videographer. Bart's on board. I'm on board. You're on board. It is going to happen. We're an hour and a half in. I really don't even. The next section is like 10 hours.
Do we have another section?
No. Well, I mean, we have to plan this.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of some of it off air.
Yeah, I think we'd be better off kind of planning whether we want to do a single region or leave it wide open and then figure out routes, and then we can. I think what we should do is we should do that off air, and then we're gonna have holes like certain species, and we can be like, this is what we want to do, the region we want to go. Does anyone have a hot lead on white bass? And this.
If you guys want to check this out, you can just go to infisherman.com, in-fisherman.com. Shout out to Thomas Allen for the In-Fisherman Richardson 112 caps that he gave both of us. And you can check out what it is, the species, the region, catch and release versus kept. Just don't even ignore the kept. We're going catch and release. Everything is exactly like it is when we come in here. We're going to have to follow the rules, all 11 of these rules, fill out the master entry form, and then Thomas will either approve or deny it, and then we'll be on to the next species.
Yeah,
I'm kind of pumped now, aren't you?
I'm jacked. This is what I have to look forward to. I mean, I got the team series coming up in a couple of weeks, but this is it for me at this point.
Let's not lie, Matt. You know what the team series is going to be? It's going to be Drew Gill hunched over at a 70-degree angle, casting some sort of Nico trick Rama min to a live scope fish while you're like, ooh, I think he saw it.
I'm just going to be holding the net. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that, but I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be, we've talked about before, like everything is always for us so geared towards how do we apply it in tournaments that you kind of lose sight of the fun things in fishing. Yeah. And this is going to be pure entertainment and fun for us.
Yeah. Which species are you most excited about knocking off the list? Like when you envision this 11-day challenge that will be documented, that will include nightly live BTLs and then daily recaps on the Matt Stefan Fishing YouTube channel, and then a produced 2 or 3 part series with Adam Bartuzek that will come out the month following. What species, like when you lay in bed awake at night thinking about this challenge, do you go, I cannot wait until?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it's generally the species I don't get to catch more. So like honestly, like the big catfish, those sound so like I love holding giant catfish up by the mouth, and like they're just big slimy bastards. So like I think that would be a blast. Brook trout would be one. A lot of the salmon species, although I know a lot of that's probably trolling, but brook trout, like I feel like I envision us catching a brook trout, but we're like in some beautiful area, right? Like that would be cool. I hope, like, if I could steer this in any direction, I want to steer it towards some of the more scenic areas, right? Like I think we could do Montana. I think we could do Idaho. Like, I think that would be some cool stuff and would lead to some really cool scenery and good video. And, you don't get to go out there that much and fish a lot of that stuff.
I agree.
What about you? What
species?
I see
you
want
species.
Yeah, I said brook trout.
Brook trout. Okay. So
catfish,
I'm thinking, when I think of this, I think of chaos. I think of, oh my God, here's our chance. And I see the muskie, the hybrid muskie and the northern, and how many times those fish follow and hit on the figure 8. And it's just, and the boat explodes and they grab the net and they get it in and you have to measure it. Like that's where I see like this challenge where like, you're figure 8ing and you're like, oh my God, look at it. And our muskie expert goes, that's a 50. That's a 50. Yeah. And then boom, it's like on the double cowbell and it's just water erupting. It looks like Niagara Falls around the boat, and then it's in the net and we're like, oh my God, we did it.
And high fives and chest bumps.
Just bear hugs. And Bart's got the cameras. He's falling over on the ground recording it. You get like a quick pick. You stretch the tape out. It hits freaking 49 inches, and we're on.
We're done. Yeah. Well, I love the toothy critters, but I get the fish for the toothy critters a lot. So that's not necessarily the species I'm most looking forward to, but I do love catching a big muskie. I love tiger muskie are just cool in itself because we don't, where I'm at, we have them naturally occurring, but there's not many of them at all, versus going to a lake where like that's what we're targeting.
The longest fight, in my opinion, like bar none, unless we catch it trolling, but I'm thinking like if this is a river deal or something, either a 24 or a 30-inch steelhead. Here's a rainbow trout steelhead. If we do it in the Great Lakes region, or all coastal waters and estuaries, which we won't. So it's most likely be a 30, which is the Great Lakes and tributaries, or someone else could have it. But I've tangled with some steelhead in Alaska. They not very fond of being hooked.
Yeah, I have very minimal experience with any salmonoids. So I'm all for steelhead or any of it. I mean, even a lake trout. I don't know that I've caught one lake trout, and that was on Lake Champlain. It was a little guy.
Yeah. And then also a striped bass. If that's on bass tackle, a 25-pound striper, like you've hooked those are literally like freight trains.
Yeah, that would be fun too.
So anyway, you guys can check this out at In-Fisherman, but we're way ahead of ourselves here. The word of the month, the word of the next 2 months is logistics.
Yep.
Logistics. I'm headed to Leech Lake this week.
That'll be fun.
Yep. And then right after that, Canada for a couple days, back to a lake that I grew up fishing from the time I was 3 years old with my uncle, who hasn't been back there in 15 years.
Which one?
It's called Lake Kashabawi. My grandparents started going there in like the 50s.
Flying or driving?
No, it's a drive-in. It's a very average Canadian lake. Like it's not like last time I was there, the smallmouth had exploded like 6 years ago. But
what town?
It's about an hour from Thunder Bay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's in Kashabawi. Is the actual town, like little town, like stop sign town.
Should be good. I'm jealous.
Yeah. Are you fishing the open? If you can
Well,
get in, like if you can get in, are you fishing it or not? Or in
we'll
Wisconsin,
see.
obviously.
We'll see. I mean, I would love to fish it. I've been,
Mhm.
signed up and waiting on it, but at this point, I mean, it's only a couple of weeks away. So like scheduling wise, there's definitely some other things I could schedule that week. I've got some Bridgeford contest winners that I think I'm going to take out that week. So at this point, I don't know that I'll be fishing it.
Not vacation. We're taking care of some business up there.
You're a world traveler now.
Yeah, the Europe thing was legitimately a vacation. Everything else was related to business.
You didn't even tell people how you fished Loch Ness.
Yeah, you like my shirt?
Oh, is that what it says?
Yeah, look.
So that's a heartbeat with Loch Ness, or is that
see Loch Ness
like
in the middle?
sonar?
And then this is like, this is like the cliff with the castle where they like see Loch Ness a lot.
Oh, that's the lake. I got you.
Yeah.
Didn't find him, huh?
No, I wasn't disappointed. I was shocked at how much of a no, Clay did not. It is back to
Are you sure? You're positive?
Yes.
Okay.
What were we talking about?
You didn't find any sea creatures?
Is it hot in here? It so Loch, Loch, is like their word for lake, right? So I feel like part of the mystique is over here. It's like Loch Ness. Well, it's a glacial carved Finger Lake, basically. So if you've been to like the Finger Lakes, very similar, although it is 750, 800 feet deep. It is ancient. It does have access to the ocean, but in a roundabout way, it's a Finger Lake. It's gorgeous. I've been to 4 Finger Lakes so far, very reminiscent of all the other Finger Lakes. Did not get a mysterious, creepy, Pelagius or monster vibe about it at all. Like we went out, we fished for 6 hours.
The lake wasn't foggy and steamy when you're out
So
there.
here's the thing. We fished on it. We had it when it was windy, when it was calm. We hiked up above when it was foggy and raining. So yes, we did see it foggy, and we saw it in all the different conditions. Gorgeous lake. And then we went to the Loch Ness Museum, which was like an hour and a half, like walk through that actually goes through like scientifically, like what it could be and all that stuff. And it was very cool, but I wasn't like, my God, this place, there's something going on here. Like there's something down there. Not saying there's not. Like when it came to the end, you hit a button that says, what do you think? And I think still plausible. I hit the plausible button, or I hit the possible button.
Greater shot of one in Loch Ness or in Lake Champlain?
So Champ, or I would say Loch Ness, just because of how fewer people there are on the water. I mean, we were there during a very busy time and saw 5 boats on the water in 7 hours, and it's 800 feet deep and 30 miles long. It's a lot, and the conditions are not nearly as clear always, with the fog and how much it rains and stuff as it is on Champlain. Plus, this has direct access to the ocean. And around, they have salmon that come in from the ocean. So definitely I would say, and I guess you technically could say Champlain does, but I would definitely say Loch Ness, much more likelihood than Champ in Champlain.
Were you disappointed that your guide did not have forward-facing sonar?
No, we were literally like troll. I don't think there was anything to see. We were trolling for salmon and casting for salmon. He didn't say anything about it. We didn't talk about it at all in like 6 hours. I like I said, I told you this off air. I said, I mentioned one time Court was like, oh, I think something followed my bait in. And she's like, oh, I think it followed it in again. And then I thought I saw something. And I said, maybe this lock is known for seeing things that aren't really there. That was kind of like my, And then his response was, I had a guy from California last week who claimed that his buddy ate lunch with a Sasquatch. that was what he said. And then he asked what we thought about Yetis / Sasquatches. But Champ was not, or Nessie was not a topic of conversation on the boat. Nor did I get like the Nessie vibes. But I also see how it could very well be there. You still fish stuff that are 800 feet deep.
It's interesting. It sounds more like it's this big perception made outside of that area.
Yeah, Chris, no Travis Manson vibes at Loch Ness. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. We'll be back. And maybe I just hit it at a very non-Nessie time.
Yeah, not during the spawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I got like I got the t-shirt. I got a keychain for my boat chain. Like I've got like the Loch Ness Monster now on the keys to my boat.
You're a full believer, it sounds like.
No, plausible. Not a believer, a realist.
But you didn't say no.
I did not say no. Just like I'm not saying no to a private jet yet.
I'm glad that's not on the Master Angler Award list. That'd be a tough one.
Catch and release or kept?
I think I might keep that one. We could pay for our travel if we caught one.
Oh, we would literally be like traveling around in the circus where people would pay like $5. See the great Loch Ness Monster.
I feel like we need to put a budget on this. Like a personal budget.
I'm good for $150.
You're going to be like, oh, let's just charter a jet. And I'm going to be like, no. Level panger.
Have you seen my open results this year?
You just qualified for the nation championship. You're on the
28 hours from home and made a $2,700 check that didn't even cover gas and lodging.
You're on the verge of making the elites, and when you make the elites, you make millions.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. I've seen videos about it.
I've heard like as soon as you make it, you have to like make your phone number private because of all the sponsors that call and want to give you money.
And groupie girls they flock to you. Yeah.
You call those dock frogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not slop lizards.
Buckle bunnies or puck bunnies.
Yeah, lot lizards, but slop lizards. I
feel like lot lizards do different things.
I feel like it's all the same.
I feel like how about that?
We better keep that RV door locked, I can tell you that.
Yeah, we need to go at least 3 more minutes just to kind of bury that.
Yeah.
All right, dude. I appreciate it.
Bobber,
what's next on your channel?
What's on my channel?
Yeah, what's next on your channel? What's in the next like couple weeks? What can people be on the lookout for Matt Stefan Fishing?
Man. Well, we got the team event, so I'll be doing some content from there.
Oh yeah, that's in like a week and a half.
Yeah, we've got we're working on some new core tackle products, so we should have some videos coming out on that soon.
Ooh,
really cool stuff, to be honest with you. Not knockoffs, I can tell you that. What else we got going? This is the tournament season coming to an end, so we get to concentrate on a lot of on the water fishing videos, a lot of stuff with respect to this Master Angler Challenge, a little bit of probably some family stuff. We got Wednesday night or tonight. Hank and Duke and I.
You fish with both of them.
Oh yeah. Well, if they both want to go, yeah.
Okay, but which Hank is the one that's obsessed?
Yeah, Hank. We need to like tone down a little bit.
Have you run the point scenario by Hank yet?
He wants me. He likes the invitationals better. He likes weigh-ins. Which is interesting because you evaluate like what what works and doesn't work from an industry standpoint. Like, why do people prefer, say, the elites over, the BPT? And it's like, my 7-year-old is simply saying, well, I like the invitationals, a 5-fish format, because he likes the weigh-ins, which is an interesting thought.
Big fan of the grip and grin.
He is.
Or he just likes to get in your boat and see what you caught that day and hold the bag.
The two boys, like, they like the look in the bag. They like to see the weight. They like the suspense of the weigh-in, not knowing where you fall. It's the same thing. Like, when we're in the boat, their favorite thing to do on our Wednesday night tournaments is to get the Bubba out and start weighing the fish. Like, they love the Bubba scale. Like, that's a tool, but it's the same. I don't know. I think he just likes having the fish in the live well. Like, both boys at the end of the night, I think their favorite thing to do is get the fish out of the live well.
You comfortable saying that?
Yeah. Tonight we're on the Stevens Point flowage. Come fish it. We're actually now a registered bass club, so you can qualify for like the Bass Nation stuff, or
does he have to pay like whatever the entry fee is to become the bass member, or can he jackpot it? Or
yeah, anybody can show up and just fish the night, but if you wanted to go towards being a club member, you have to pay the yearly club dues.
They got a Facebook page?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Yeah, I mean, dude, it's legit. I mean, we got Jay Shakur, it's a member, so if he's in town, yeah, he'll be there.
DJ Steve, I would suggest that if you do fish it tonight, you come up with a crisp $20 bill and you put it as a wager to Mr. Stefan, whoever comes out on top, and then maybe get a signature on it after you better him.
It's 20. So we pay by the person. You can actually have 3 people in the boat, I believe, but it's $20 a person and $5 for big bass. I mean, we'll have probably I bet we have 15 boats tonight. So it's a members only page, but it's called Wisconsin River Bass Club.
Okay.
Check it out. Join. We rotate. So we fish the Stevens Point flowage, which is what I live on, and then upstream is Lake Dubay, and then we've got the Big O Plain flowage, which is not too far, and then south of Stevens Point is the Buren flowage. So we rotate the 4 lakes.
Lots of flowages.
They're reservoirs. We call them flowages up here.
Oh, that's weird. Someone must have texted Johnny because he just texted me today.
Was he too busy pumping iron?
No, he sent me, I'm not going to say what it is, but he sent me the results of a 30-day experiment that he just ran. I can't make it up. There's a multiple documents, a PDF, a Excel file, everything.
Yeah, I don't know what he's referencing, but Johnny gets very analytical on things, which is one reason I really get along well with him, because I'm big into the analytics as well.
Interesting. All right, Matt. I'm looking forward to this. Thank you for coming on, updating the listeners, your fans, the viewers on what's going on the water, talking about off the water. Really enjoyed this show. It's hard to believe we always go 2 hours, and I don't even intend to. So thanks for sticking around.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. We need to get the logistics down. We really do.
Lots of logistics.
So much.
Can we hire like a professional planner? Those people exist, don't they? Where we're like, hey, here's what we want to do, but we're not sure. Or do you think we can handle this?
Now you sound like Johnny. Can we just hire this person? And I'm like, where are we getting the money from?
Maybe they would sponsor it. Maybe it'd be like a professional organizer or something. And then like, we're like, hey, look at all this.
Yeah, we could hire we could get a professional logistics manager who specializes in logistics of
travel, life organization.
They create such a big thing with this that's a whole profession in itself. The Master Angler Award Challenge Logistics Manager.
It's a mouthful.
It's going to be needed after we knock this out in 4 days.
Whew, lofty goals. All right, this has been another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live. Tomorrow, Frank Scalish returns for a live show, 8:30. 9:30 a.m. Central Time. Till then, from the two Matts, we'll talk to you later. See ya.
See ya.